You are welcome. This is the Messiah Revelation Ministry. We focus on end time events. I'm looking at comments made by a Black American lady who moved to Ghana from the United States. So I'm making a commentary on her complaints. I think it's relevant for people to know the reality of living in Africa. And I'm leaving a video in the description box. And the video was made by someone who is a YouTube operator, Go Black to Africa. And so when you read, when you watch my video, I will encourage you to also watch the video produced by a YouTuber, Go Black to Africa. In that video, the Black American woman is making a lot of complaints about Ghana and advising people not to move to Africa or Ghana specifically. So I want to do a video to explain certain things. It's unfortunate that Go Black to Africa, which is a YouTube channel, is operated by an American, a Black American who is in Africa, has gone to several African countries and has investments in Africa, including Ghana, and knows the opportunities in Africa. But at the same time, he unfortunately supports some comment by some Americans, particularly from the Black diaspora, which are untrue and which are out of place. So I'm going one by one about the comments. First comment is about transportation. She spends 130 US dollars every day on transportation. First of all, I don't know why she spends $130 a day on transportation. The US dollar, $1 is 15 Ghana cedis. And so if she spends $130 6 days in a week, it means she's spending 780 US dollars a week on transportation. Translated into Ghana cedis, if you use the rate 1 USD to 15 Ghana cedis, then she will be spending 11,700 Ghana cedis on transportation every day. 11,700 cedis, which is equivalent to 780 USD, is more than the salary that a university professor in Ghana gets a month. In other words, the Black American lady is spending more money on transportation a week than what a university professor gets as a salary in a month. Let's go to rent. She claims that she spends $100 on rent every is it every day? Okay, you spend $100 on rent every day. I assume that she is in a hotel because $100 equivalent, if you use the CD equivalent, $100 is 1,500 Ghana cedis. And if you are spending it on rent, it means it's very expensive. And so it appears the woman is living like a queen in Ghana. She's living like a queen, a rich person in Ghana, yet she's complaining. Okay, going back to the transportation, she spends $130 on transportation every day. So I talked to a taxi driver in Accra, and the taxi driver said that every day he gives 100 Ghana cedis to the owner of the taxi that he drives. Because in Ghana, a lot of the taxis are owned by individuals, and they give the car to drivers to drive, and the drivers have to make sales every week. And this driver told me that every week, that is 6 days, he pays 600 Ghana cedis to the owner of the taxi cab. And if the exchange rate is $1 to 15 Ghana cedis, it means he gives $40 USD to the owner of the car every week. So you can conclude that the American woman living in Accra in Ghana, who spends $130 on transportation every day, is spending more money than what the taxi driver pays the owner of the car for the week, because the American woman spends 130 USD a day, but the taxi driver, all that he has to give to the owner of the car for a week, 6 days, is $40. Once you give the $40 equivalent 600 Ghana cedis, whatever money you get when you drive the taxi car, you keep it to yourself as the driver. You keep the money, you buy your gas, and then you do the driving. Whatever money you get, you keep it to yourself. So it's possible that the Black American lady does not understand economics in Ghana, the transportation system in Ghana, and she admits that she has kids, she has a husband and kids, and so the taxi cabs in Ghana are too small for the family, so she rents an SUV to move her and the family around. SUV. Talking about SUV, in the United States, if you rent a limousine, it's more expensive than any other car. So I suspect this woman is renting SUV to carry her around every day, and she's paying 130 USD every day, which if you calculate the amount she's spending a week on transportation alone, is more than the monthly salary of a full professor in Ghana. So she is living in Ghana like a queen, way above the average Ghanaian, and her lifestyle is above the average Ghanaian, even above a university professor in a major university in Ghana. Let's look at the mortgage system in the United States. In the US, most of the time, you don't buy a house paying cash in advance. You pay by you do it by mortgage. This woman is saying that in the US, she bought a house for 100,000 USD, 6 bedroom house for 100,000 USD, and she's complaining that in Ghana, in Accra, she saw a 3 bedroom house being sold for 500,000 USD. 3-bedroom house being sold at 500,000 USD, was her home that she bought in America. 6-bedroom is worth only, or was bought only for 100,000 USD. How will you buy a house in Ghana for 500,000 USD when where you only have 3 bedrooms? I don't think it's true. She's exaggerating. First of all, if somebody advertises a house, 3-bedroom house in Accra, Ghana, for $500,000, and if you buy it, probably you are rich. You have money to probably waste. That's why you are buying a house like that. I'm not sure houses are listed that high, demanding 500,000 US dollars for 3-bedroom apartment. Converted to Ghana cedis, if you do the conversion, 1 USD to 15 Ghana cedis, multiply 500,000 by 15, you get millions of cedis. And do you know what $500,000 will buy in Ghana in a house? It will be a very big mansion. And so this lady obviously is lying and exaggerating, and it's unfortunate that the channel Go Black to Africa is supporting these lies, which is being perpetrated by somebody, a Black American lady who is living like a queen in Ghana. In the video, she talks about a suburb in Accra called Legon. You must understand that Legon is a suburb in Accra, is a premier suburb. University of Ghana, which is the first university in Ghana, is located in Legon. Legon is the place where celebrities, politicians, and rich people, Europeans, people who have money, sportsmen and women, business people. This is where they live. So if you go to in the United States, you have Beverly Hills. If you go to Maryland, you have Potomac, and you cannot compare houses in Potomac with houses in other suburbs in Maryland. Obviously, because she is in Legon, I assume that she wants to live a life like a queen in Ghana. She's spending 130 USD a day on transportation, and she's spending $100 USD a day wherever she is. Comparatively, there is a house somewhere in Accra. It is not in a, 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 what do you call a posh area. It's not where the rich people live, but it's in a comfortable area, very peaceful, very nice house. A whole 3-bedroom. Every bedroom has toilet and bath, and downstairs there's also a guest toilet and a living room. And the owner is demanding only 200 USD a month. And so if somebody is willing to rent a whole house, 3-bedroom house, each room has a toilet and bath and a company, a whole house, for USD 200 a month, and this lady is spending $100 a day where she is, then she wants to live like a queen in Ghana. Okay, let's talk about um, some of her complaints about appliances, no cooking materials, no refrigerator wherever she is. The reality is that in the United States, where when you buy a house or you rent an apartment, um, most likely there will be a refrigerator in over there you can use. Um, if you want to buy your own, you can buy your own. But in Ghana, in some cases, it's not the case. Newer apartments probably may provide those facilities, but it is not the case where you rent a place and then the person buys you, gives you a refrigerator. So she must understand the context of the Ghanaian renter business. She's complaining about lack of hot water. Hot water. I don't know what she wants to do with the hot water. Probably for bathing. It's very strange because the weather in Ghana is very warm, is very humid in Accra because it's close to the coast. And if you go to northern Ghana, the weather is so warm that some people even complain that in certain uh, on certain occasions, the weather is so warm that blood it will even come from your nose in the northern part of Ghana, which is close to the Sahara Desert. So if somebody is asking for hot water in her apartment, I don't know what she's going to do with the hot water to bath. Um, is he going to use the hot water to bath in such a warm weather? This lady probably is from Chicago, and I know Chicago because I've been to Chicago before. Chicago is very cold, and you get snow in Chicago. If somebody has lived in Chicago before, which is very cold and probably needs hot water to bath, how on earth is she demanding hot water in an apartment in a country that is warm, very warm? Geographically, Ghana is the center of the world. It is at the center of the middle of the world geographically, and it's a tropical country, very warm. And so I'm not sure why she's demanding hot water. Probably she's demanding everything that she will get if she were in America. And so she wants to live like a queen in Ghana. She says she has kids, 4 of them, and she also has a husband. She didn't talk about the school system in Ghana, but I would tell her that the schools in Ghana are relatively good, particularly for those from the diaspora who want to bring their children to Ghana to be educated in Ghana. There are instances where Ghanaian diaspora abroad in Europe and in America, they have brought their children born overseas to Ghana to attend schools in Ghana, primarily because of the fact that there's a lot of discipline in the schools in Ghana. And for just to serve the diaspora kids, there are a lot of schools, particularly in Accra, which are international schools, and they teach in English, and they incorporate so many things that are taught in schools in America, and they prepare the students in such a way that if they want to go abroad anywhere, they can go and finish their education. So discipline in the schools in Ghana is a factor to be taken into consideration. I've never heard throughout my life that there was a case in a school in Ghana where students shot their colleagues with a gun because um, kids don't carry gun with them, and it is almost unusual. It's unheard of. I've never heard that anywhere, that there was a school in Ghana and a student shot his or her fellow students or shot teachers. Discipline is very high, and that is one consideration for people who have kids and they want to move to Ghana. If you live in Accra or Kumasi or Cape Coast, and there are schools where your children can go to school, and they are very good. It's not a boast, but I would say that Ghana has well advanced institutional facilities comparable to anywhere in Africa and comparable to um, any anywhere in the world. So okay, she complained about environment. Um, she said she doesn't want to rent a place or live in a place where you have lizards coming to your bedroom. So she's talking about lizards, and I'm not talking about. She's talking about lizards, the reptiles. I don't think there are lizards in apartments at East Legon where she's staying or in any other place. It's true that there are some reptiles that look like lizard. They are not lizards. They are very little, tiny, and in some cases, because of the environment, some of them may come to your room. You don't see them very often. Occasionally, you don't see four, three. You only see one, and you can kill it. I don't think they are not harmful, and so it's not true that in Ghana, particularly in Accra, you have lizards running through houses. It's an exaggeration. She's talking about environment, and every city have every city has their own environmental issues. Definitely in Accra, there's an issue of flooding. In some cases, when it rains because of the topography close to the coast. But when we're talking about environment, I don't think it would be fair to complain about um, lizards in Ghana or mosquitoes in Ghana because even bigger cities have some environmental challenges. And I will refer her to Washington District of Columbia. Washington District of Columbia is the capital of almighty United States. In the 1980s, 1990s, there was a conference on rat conference in Washington, D.C. What was the purpose of the conference? The purpose of the conference was how to deal with rat infestation in Washington, D.C., capital of the United States. You see a lot of rats roaming around, and so it's likely that the rats will go into some apartments. Cockroaches will go into apartments. It doesn't mean that there are rats all over the United States. In the same way that if you see a small lizard in your apartment, it doesn't mean that there are lizards in apartments in Ghana, and you make a video to create that false impression. And it's unfortunate that the video is made by Go Black to Africa, whose YouTube gives the impression that um, he is giving the right information to the black diaspora who want to go to Africa and live there as black people. He's talking about goats and animals, and some people also complain about seeing goats on the streets and animals on the streets. Is part of the business and environment where somebody will have a house, and in the house he has a backyard. He rears goats, or he rears chicken, and so that he can kill the chicken, he can sell the the eggs for money and also for his own consumption. I know of a military officer in Accra who has a big compound, and he rears grass cutters. And so that is his part-time business. He's a army officer, has a full-time job as an army officer, and he also rears grass cutters, and he sells them to restaurants and make extra money about it. Um, there's no situation where you go and rent a place and there are goats in the apartments, or there are I mean there are cows in the apartment, or sheep running around. You may see sheep running around in some places, particularly when you go to the rural areas in Ghana. And I don't think it's different from countries like Burkina Faso, Mali, Nigeria, Niger, Tanzania, Kenya, and any other parts of Africa. She's complaining about bribery and corruption, and there's a lot of corruption in Ghana. And I think she is right. Any person complaining about corruption in Ghana or corruption in Africa, they are right. And I encourage them to do that, because if they continue to complain about corruption in Africa, the corrupt leaders and the corrupt bureaucrats, probably they will have a change of mind, and they will stop corruption. And because corruption is not good for any country, including Ghana. Um, However, when we talk about corruption, you blame both sides, because high level corruption occurs because some foreign business entities, they rely on corruption to get business and also to cheat the African and countries. So I'll give you an example. When Ghana got independence in 1957, the first president of Ghana, Dr. Nkrumah, signed an agreement with an American company, Kaiser Aluminum Company, to do aluminium smelting in Ghana. And the agreement stipulated that the American company should not pay taxes for 99 years. 99 years. It was an agreement. And Ghana government signed the agreement. The government was actually desperate, because first black country to get independence from Britain in 1957, no industrialization, and the country was ready to industrialize. An American company was playing around. Nkrumah even wanted American company to help Ghana to build an artificial dam, and America didn't want to do that. And Nkrumah threatened that if America doesn't come in, then he was going to Czechoslovakia to get assistance from communist Czechoslovakia. It was that threat that forced the American government to assist Ghana in the construction of a dam, a Kosomo Dam, which at that time was the largest artificial lake in the whole world. And if you Google, you can Google about American law, Foreign Corrupt Practices Act. America has a law called Foreign Corrupt Practices Act, and the purpose of the act is to prevent American companies from using bribery and corruption to secure business overseas. What does it tell you? It means that America is aware that American companies um, use foreign governments, they engage them in a corrupt manner to secure business abroad. So corruption is part of the political system. So I agree with you, and I agree with anybody who complains about corruption in Ghana. Corruption is very endemic in Ghana. I'm focusing on Ghana. I'm aware of it. Corruption is endemic, and corruption creates a lot of discomfort, particularly if people are coming from overseas where they are not used to paying money before certain things are done. I mean, if you are asked to pay bribe before you get your driver's license or a passport, or if you are uh, um, paid, you're asked to pay a bribe before they register a company for you, it's all corruption. And I think I encourage people to complain about the corruption and expose corruption in the system. So I think people are doing a good job. I'm focusing on the lady who um, has made a video complaining about Ghana, and I think I will focus on her attitude. If you watch the video that I'm putting in the description box, you can see how the woman talks, the tone and the language. I wouldn't want to repeat it, but I think if you go to a foreign country, whether you are an African going to America or you are an American going to Africa, you have to watch how you speak and how you talk, because in Ghana, I believe there are over 10,000 Black Americans living in Ghana, and some of them are living in Ghana permanently. They are Hebrew Israelites. They are African Americans who own business in Cape Coast and in Elimina, where we have the slave dungeons. They are catering to the needs of their brothers and sisters who come from the diaspora. So the question I'm asking is, though there's corruption in Ghana, but it doesn't mean that there's no corruption anywhere in Africa, or there's no corruption anywhere in the world. And it doesn't mean that you cannot live in Ghana because Ghana is a corrupt country. Political corruption is there, and bureaucratic corruption is there. Um, I have a concept that I will use, and the concept I will use is step down, pull up. What I mean by step down is that when you go to somebody's country, particularly if you are coming from a country that is considered to be developed or more privileged, you don't expect that you get the same conditions in the foreign country that you are going to. So you have to step down. What I mean by step down is that lower your expectations and adjust so that you'll be able to accommodate yourself. Um, America is a great country with facilities. The roads are very good, and the roads in Ghana or in Africa cannot compare to the roads in the United States. So people complain about death rows, untied roads. And so this lady is renting an SUV because she claims that it is the SUV that will be able to carry her around because of bad roads in Ghana. Talking about bad roads in Ghana, it's on record that the road facilities in Ghana are probably better than other countries in Africa and also in some developing countries. There is an interchange in Accra, which is the most complicated interchange in West Africa, the whole of West Africa. Of course, we're talking about Nigeria, and it's the second largest largest and most complicated road interchange in Africa. In West Africa, it is number one. In the whole of Africa, it is number two. It shows that relatively infrastructure in Ghana is better. So if you are complaining about infrastructure in Ghana, I believe you will have problems with other countries in Africa. So you need to step down. Step down means lower your expectation and adjust so that you'll be able to cope with the conditions in the country and that we are moving to. You step down. You step down. I know of a Ghanaian doctor, medical doctor, finished medical school in Ghana, very reputable medical school, became a medical doctor in Ghana, and moved to United States purposely to practice medicine in America, moving for better opportunities. When he went to United States, I'm talking about Maryland, he didn't have the license to practice medicine in the United States because a foreign medical doctor has to take a special exam, board exam to pass and get the license to practice in United States. So what he did was to register in a course on LPN, Licensed Practical Nurse. A medical doctor. He didn't tell anybody, but he enrolled as a licensed practical nurse and he got the license as a licensed practical nurse. So he was working in a hospital in America as a licensed practical nurse, getting less salary, less recognition, stepping down. He was stepping down until he passed the medical board examination and got the license to practice medicine. And he moved to a big hospital, Mount Sinai in Maryland, and he practiced as a medical doctor. People were surprised because one day they saw him as a licensed practical nurse, LPN, and the other day they saw him as a medical doctor, even doing surgery in a major hospital in the state of Maryland. What did he do? He stepped down, lowered his expectation so that he'll be able to adjust. So that's the advice I'll give people who want to move to other countries, particularly if you want to be comfortable. The video that I'm leaving in the description box, you will hear the woman complaining, and she made a statement. The statement she made is that she would rather go back to America and live with racism in America rather than live in Ghana with BS. And you can see the language that she used. She would rather go back, move back from Ghana and go back and live with racism in America. Of course, it's very, very interesting because you can compare people's attitude when they move overseas, when they move to other countries. I also watched other videos and I saw one black American saying that the first time he felt like a human being was when he came to Ghana because people did not look at him based upon the color of his skin. So he was very happy. And the other person also made a comment that he's leaving America and is coming to Ghana because in America he's living in the land of his enemies. It's a prophetic statement because for the Hebrew Israelites, those who are aware that they are black Americans and they are Hebrew Israelites, the Lord spoke to the prophets that because of disobedience, the Hebrew Israelites will be scattered to all the four corners of the earth, and they will be living in the land of their enemies who will prosecute them, they will persecute them. And so this man is very happy to move to Ghana with all the BS in Ghana and with all the challenges in Ghana. The woman wants to move back to America and live with racism in America, but she has to know about the psychological effect of racism and a racist system. And so I will probably remind her to research about the trial of a case, Brown versus Board of Education, 1954. And as you are aware, in the case of Brown versus Board of Education, which was argued by Justice Thurgood Marshall, a black man, the first black person to be on the US Supreme Court, it was a case where they were deciding the constitutionality of segregation in schools in America, and they called experts who actually gave expert testimony about the impact of racism on the psychology of black people living in America. So it is very unfortunate that somebody who wants to live like a queen in Ghana because she says she doesn't want to rent. She wants to own a house because she owned $100,000 house in Chicago and she wants to own a house and she's ready to spend 130 USD on transportation every day, $100 USD on accommodation. Probably she's living in a hotel somewhere in a, 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 what they call an expensive area, Legon. And that person, that woman who wants to live like a queen in Ghana, is rather contemplating to go back, even though he admits that there's racism in America. It's very, very unfortunate. So you have to choose between racism in America and BS in Ghana. My last comment is that a lot of people have misperceptions about other countries. Africans have misperceptions about America. And Americans have misperceptions about in Africa. Ghana is the home of Pan-Africanism, the country of Dr. Nkrumah, the country where W.E.B. Du Bois um, came to live, renouncing his U.S. Citizenship, the country that got independence on 6th of March 1957, a country where Reverend Martin Luther, uh, Ma, uh, Reverend Martin Luther King came. Dr. Martin Luther King visited Ghana on the occasion of Ghana's independence on March the 6th, 1957. He came as a member of the delegation from United States. And the Vice President of America also came representing the government of America on the occasion of the independence of the first Negro nation in Africa. The Vice President of the United States at that time saw Dr. Martin Luther King and said, "Congratulations on your country's independence." What does it mean? It means the Vice President of the United States thought that Dr. Martin Luther King is the President of Ghana, so he was congratulating him on the occasion of Ghana's independence on 6 March 1957. And according to the report, Dr. Martin Luther King, knowing who he was, he said, "Sir, my name is Martin Luther King Jr. I'm from the United States of America. My country is not yet free." What does it mean? It means Dr. Martin Luther King, well known over the world, Nobel laureate, was invincible, even to the point that he was not recognized by the then Vice President of the United States. And Dr. Martin Luther King had to correct him, remind him that he was not free in his own country in America. And that was the year 1957. So there's need for total emancipation mentally and physically. And I want to first of all congratulate every Black American who suffered for civil rights in America, that paved the way for other people, even including Eastern Europeans, including Hispanics from Mexico, and including Asians, Chinese, and including people from continental Africa. And so this is my commentary on the Black American woman who lives like a queen in Ghana. Does it mean that you cannot go black to Africa? This is my message. You must go black to Africa, but you have to step down and adjust your expectations, and also watch the way you talk. And you cannot talk about people wearing dashikis, because it's in the video. The woman's husband is complaining about people wearing dashikis, as if wearing a traditional African cloth is a sign of barbarism, if you will. I'm always proud to see Black Americans who actually appreciate the African traditions and they appreciate their roots in Africa. In the same way, I want to see Africans, native Africans, continental Africans who actually know the history of Black people in America, particularly African Americans, their experience, and the fact that Africa and the African diaspora, they are all one, indivisible, and we have to engage in business on that level and think like W.E.B. Du Bois, think like Rondell Robinson, who founded Trans-Africa, who even fasted, a Black American fasting in America to champion for the end of apartheid in South Africa. And also, we need to remember the thinking of Kwame Nkrumah, who adopted the philosophy of Marcus Garvey and who rely on the advice of W.E.B. Du Bois, all of the purpose of bringing Black people over the world together in Africa being your ancestral home and Ghana being the cornerstone of the Black diaspora. This is my message. Thank you. My email is raptureafrica@yahoo.com. One word, small letter. My channel is dedicated to end-time events, preparing the world for the coming of the Messiah. But I know prophetically that a time will come when people of all African descent, you will come. You will come to Africa, you come to Ghana. It will not be by your choice. It will not be by your might. It will not be by your power, but by the Spirit of Elohim. All of you will come to the continent of Africa, and Ghana is your home and will always be your home. Thank you very much for this message.